Let's see what our bans are going to be. Team Liquid will kick things off, and I guess on this map, it's pretty fair to expect that we're going to see some fireworks, like I said earlier on. Let's say between the bans. Lion, an interesting ban. Okay. That's trying to shut down some more of the roam-based play or the more aggressive play we might see from either side.
It certainly is. We haven't really seen any Lion play so far, so there's obviously, you know, a specific reason that they're concerned about that. Like you say, he's always a powerful operator, even after the nerf, just forcing people to stand still for even a couple of seconds, reveal the locations of anybody who doesn't. It's difficult to play against, so, you know, I can see the reasons for that. Like you say, it just maybe supports the roam game a little bit. You can't use those Lion scans then to try and close that down. I think maybe somebody like Nomad generally has a bigger direct impact to Nomad gridlock on that roam game, so if that's what you're trying to protect, maybe go for one of those instead. But yeah, still value there. Maestro and Mirror, not too much of a surprise. Book, again, very useful on coastline. It's going to pretty much force teams to bring Sledge anytime that they want to get any vertical play going on, particularly down into the kitchen site and down into Blue Bar and Sunrise, which tend to be the sites that we see those vertical attempts made on. No surprises to see Nomad on the board straight away, although switched out to a Dorkaby there by Hugzord. So not too much of a concern over that roam game. I'm looking over on the other side. There we go. Six picks straight back out to the Nomad. So it gives you the opportunity to just Nomad off those staircases. There's also the concern of runouts as well. So depending if they're going to be looking for any window play, those air jabs can be used to protect those as well. We've seen Nesk get a couple of kills off a big jump out at the beginning of border. So I'm sure that's something that MIBR are going to be very conscious of coming into this one.
Absolutely will. Starting things off on Hooker and Billiards. Now, when we saw, what I can't remember what it was earlier on, it was Liquid we saw playing Coastline, correct?
Yes.
Against Luminosity. And I recall on this site in particular, they basically crawled all over the northwest side of the map. They had themselves very spread out themselves between Aqua and between Hooker. But when it came to actually attacking it, taking the below, taking the above was their key aim. So maybe that's why MIBR are identifying that and saying, we're banning away the buck here. We don't want Liquid to be able to play that game when it comes round to the attacking half for them. But Sexy Cake is picking up one of his signature operators here in the Echo. We've seen him cause absolute chaos with that, both on this map, on maps like Cafe against other teams. I have no doubt that is going to be a thorn in the side of the aggression of MIBR, which is exactly why their response is to bring the IQ and the Twitch to try and deal with those.
I think Sexy Cake's been a little bit of an unsung hero over the last two maps. Not really got enough frags to be shouted out like PSK and Nesk over the last map or so, but has had some really important kills exactly when his team needed them. So has done a great job at times, and as I say, just really well-timed, well-punctuated when his team needed it. We've got some quick progress here from MIBR, straight up onto the roof, opening the hatch near Penthouse, so that will facilitate a drop down into bathroom. We've got aquarium balcony. The door has been opened. Novice just very carefully watching that luggage window in case it gets knocked out for a peek potentially. We've got Nomad looking to get in there into Sunrise potentially again. Drones going out, so nice and patient from MIBR. They're not just diving in. There goes the air jab to prevent anybody now moving into Sunrise without them being aware of it, and it will just allow some window play.
Bit of a check as well, making sure every single side of the map is secure, even getting Penthouse covered up here as well, and they'll be very wise in doing so. Quite common for a lot of teams here at OGA to have been playing two off towards this right-hand side. It's always a Jaeger, and the second one is more the variable pick that you go for. But it's just there again, like you would see on CCTV if you're holding gym in bedrooms. Also cover off CCTV and cache walls just to waste some time and slow them down. But clearly wanted to risk nothing. Liquid drop out of there pretty much immediately and start backing away. And a great flash comes through as Novis walks in for a free kill onto Nesk.
That's one of the roamers gone then with Nesk off the board. One of the top fraggers from the last game. PSK did ultimately beat him out to the top spot, but Sexy Cake is going to be using those Echo drones just to gather information again. M-King is pushing in here. I'm sure they're aware of somebody in Hooker. Will take out the Yokai drone as well, so that's great work from him. The pressure is mounting into Hooker there. Bullet with a kill onto Sexy Cake, so that's the Echo completely off the board, and that will not allow any denial of this plant, which is going down from Hugzord. Power does get one back for Liquid, but that leaves us in a 4 versus 3 post-plant situation here. They've got in, they've got by the bomb, and they've got the diffuser down. Sometimes all you need to do is focus on that objective. Don't worry about the kills. They will come as and when the objective is complete. As we see Power straight into the line of sight of M-King. Novice gets one onto Moringa. Novice finishing things off with the kill onto PSK, and that is a very good first round, MIBR.
The only critique I could really have of Liquid there was the fact that they had no one playing below, no one really present to be able to contest or support Bar. We spoke about this a lot back on day one for MIBR, ironically enough, not backing each other up with trades. Saw exactly the same thing going on with Liquid there. No one was covering. Once the smoke had gone down, Moringa behind Bar, no one was there to get a refrag. There was no angles being held, coming in from the other side of Hooker, down through the soft rotations that you see on either side of the wall there that joins the two sites. He went down for free, and that was it. Aqua was entirely in their control. Sight was entirely in their control. Planted the default spot. The normal go-to response to that is to have a C4 below that you throw onto the default spot and catch someone out. But no one was there to do that because they had been too busy being pressured out early on by the sledge who was rappelling onto Penthouse window to force them to have to rotate back to sight. So good from MIBR. Not really pressured in any way, shape or form. Liquid just kind of moved like a Liquid would, funnily enough, as MIBR moved into different areas of the map without really much resistance.
Round number 2 then, MIBR coming out and taking the first spoils with 1 round on the board. But we've seen this happen both times where then Liquid have come back and got themselves on the board, and it's gone 1-0 after the first 2 rounds, and then it tends to just run away one way or the other from there with one of the teams. We can see pretty usual setup coming in here with the reinforcers for Blue Bar and Sunrise. I'm sure there's going to be some attention paid to top floor as well. It looks like we might have one just heading up there, although all 5 are still downstairs at the minute, and they don't necessarily want to give up top floor too freely. We do have Bullet on the sledge, and I'm sure if he gets up there, he will be opening up some vertical angles and will look to make them pay in sight and get them moving around. Default cam goes out as he passes it, and we've got, again, quick early progress towards the exterior of the map at least, and they will be pushing in very, very soon. There's the challenge from upstairs, so I'm glad to see that Power has moved himself upstairs and is not just going to allow entry for free, but he has to move away, doesn't want to give up his life too freely in Hooker, and the pressure is being applied by Bullet, so they just want to be careful there. As it stands, not too bad so far from MIBR. They've got a good bit of control. They've moved the roamers back downstairs, and they can start moving into that top floor very soon.
They can, but it's again the pressure that comes in from the other side. If Liquid can slow them down here, they've still got those Echo drones, of course. Let's not forget they were very little use in the last round, as they did just get rolled over one after the other with little contest coming out of the other side. That's the IQ, though, and M-King doing work, and Bullet's going to find a kill onto Ness because he tries to make a jump out there with the dock, I think, to try and find a kill from service entrance, but net 0 or net -1, if you want to call it that, not finding himself a single kill.
That's Nesk first kill in the first 2 rounds now, and it's something that he needs to be aware of. He's one of the big players on that team. They're going to be looking towards him for frags, and if he's going to give his life away like that, it is, of course, risk and reward. Hugzo getting a team kill, unfortunately, onto Novice there. Not sure what's happened. I can only assume he's moved across his line of sight as he's taken a shot, and that was accidental, but that's going to bring us back into a 4 versus 4, and that could be a turn of good fortune for Liquid. Back to what I was saying about Nesk, he needs to be careful. If he's going to take those jump outs, the risk has to be calculated, and he can't lose his life like that too frequently because he's putting his team immediately at a man disadvantage, and it's one of their big fraggers off the board as well. Docs could have some important utility as well in the late round if you've got those stim pistol shots available when hit points have been lost and you can heal your team up. It can be very valuable, or even overjuice yourself as you're going into a fight. It really can make the difference. Power with a kill onto Cyber there. Headshot taking the Zafir off the board, and that's more important utility lost for MIBR, and this one is proving a tough nut to crack.
Look how much control they have looking in towards Sunrise right now. They're looking entirely towards the Echo drone. I think you can hear it like whirring around somewhere. They're not quite sure where it is. Knows that someone is right behind this bar, but can't quite touch him. Jumps over, and Moringa is there waiting with the shotgun to bring him down. And for MIBR, they had this around set up, but now they've lost those two. It's all down to M-King entirely by himself. So for Liquid, a much more coordinated round, finding the frags that count, and will shut MIBR out here and give them very little breathing room. Even playing down here on the opposite side of the map, it's going to mean nothing as Paolo finds that kill, and we even things out at 1 apiece.
Exactly as we've seen for the last 2 maps. Things go in either direction to begin with, 1 round apiece, and Liquid sending a message there. That was a very solid defence from them. The run out from Nesk, not the end of the world. You know, sometimes it just puts it into the mind. We had this discussion the other day whereby even if you're unsuccessful in securing the kill, it just puts it in the mind of those attackers that there is the potential that people are going to try and run out on them. And it's just, again, you've spoken about it, Des, it's that focus as a resource and just taking their attention away and just making them think about something else. So I'm sure that Nesk is probably going to temper it from here on in. He's not going to be doing that too often. He doesn't want to be giving his life away. He certainly doesn't want to be opening death again in this next round. He needs to be coming in as that entry fragger and getting the kill. He needs to be running towards those barricades when he hears them getting knocked in, when he knows where the attackers are coming from. He just needs to be going at them and trying to get the kills. He's now going to be on the Warden this time out.
He runs funny.
He's 2-speed now, isn't it?
I believe
that change.
I believe it is.
I believe it
on this patch. Well, would it be? Because we're on land bills, the previous patch, maybe not.
Possibly not.
Either way, he runs funny. That's the point I was trying to make.
Top and bottom of it is.
That's all it comes down to. So let's see how it goes. Now trying to do a few reinforcements up inside Penthouse and Theatre here. Again, more for the vertical hole just to stop them completely ripping up all of bathroom and toilet. There's quite a lot of investment going into this part of the map actually as well. Like I say, making sure they can't get control of that. VIP going to be the other side of things they want to hold down, but the problem, of course, with defending this room is that there is an external window. It makes it very easy to assault from the outside on the rappel, playing through from drones inside a guitar. Take your pick. There are a lot of areas you need to be very concerned about, so I imagine a lot of the focus will actually be inside of Penthouse and Theatre.
Yeah, we've seen the plant go down. I think it's today that we've seen the plant go down inside that kitchen window in the first match today. So it's something, you know, that we have to be aware of, that it can happen and it can be very easily done. I think it was against SSG. They just had absolutely no idea that the man was in sight, and the plant went down quite quickly and easily. We can see, again, Power up on the top here. He's just looking to get those early kills. Liquid are looking to maintain that early aggression and try and get those entry frags. So far, they've lost out both times. Novice and Bullet getting 1 apiece for MIBR, so they need to be careful of that. They really don't want to be playing behind every single round here. Up comes the drone, that'll be shot out immediately, so they will be aware that there's somebody in and around that Hall of Fame area, so Paolo will just drop himself away from there, change his angle of attack and not make things easy for them. We can see we've got 2 down on site, the rest will be playing away from there, so the roamers need to be dealt with, because with that whole hatch open in Penthouse, it is a very quick rotate down and back to site for Paolo if needs be.
I'm pretty sure they got rid of it now, but the northwest default cam was still in place for the longest time there, meaning that for MIBR, they can see the entirety of that north balcony and know that no one is trying to repel them there, no one's trying to provide a threat. That means the attack is coming from a different direction, and MIBR can rotate to do just that. Now you can even see in this case here, Liquid, we should rotate to be able to deal with it. MIBR are the ones who have chosen not to shoot it out. However, we are now inside service. 3 of them pushing in. It's Sexy Cake off to the side, not going to find himself any kills initially. And he'll back away to sit himself alongside Moringa. However, Cyber will get one in here from Toilets. That pressure's now being applied. The plant's going down inside of service. This vertical is not doing much for them. But look at Nesk right here. He's dropped out right behind them, finds himself 2. What a flick round headshot onto M-King. There is nothing left for them now. They've got 2 left alive. The diffuser didn't even go down. And how on earth, when they know where he is he still winning these shots? He's trying to get back inside the building. Cyber is being completely pressured out. He's even forced to rotate up north here towards service entrance. A beautiful play by Nesk completely shuts down this attack coming out of MIBR. He even gets the final kill and makes it a 4K. What a round for Nesk.
Well, triple kill on the run out. What do I know? Message received, Nesk. You keep running out all you want. The thing is, round 2, he jumps out, gets nothing. Round 3, he jumps out and gets a 3K. By doing that now, like I say, that's just firmly cemented it in the minds of MIBR that they need to be very careful. They're going to start bringing utility to deal with that. They were already bringing the Nomad. I'm sure there'll be more of that. They'll potentially switch out to Claymores. They're going to want as much as they can get to prevent those runouts, because things like that cannot be allowed to happen. We already saw that from Nesk earlier, if you remember, Des. On Bank, he jumped out of the top windows and he spent about 30 seconds outside, and it's just that volume of time that was being wasted. And I commented at the time, I think the thing that you don't see that happens in that scenario is all the team comms just dies down about what's going on inside, and the focus immediately becomes Nesk is outside. How is he doing this? Where is it? He's still challenging us. Why is he still outside? So really, it gives all the players inside the map who may be under a bit of pressure a little breather as well, because it all of a sudden becomes about that player who's challenging them outside and who's been outside for 20 seconds and got 3 kills. Great plays from him.
Attention as a resource. We keep on coming back to it. It's exactly what he's doing by constantly pulling them around. But when you bring in something like a Nomad there, really, you'd imagine if you're trying to commit 3 or 4 people to pushing through there, you would have those windows covered out and potentially lobby entrance also being covered, but not an air jab in sight. He makes it look easy. But that round's now behind us. That is 2-1 currently to Liquid on their defensive side of Coastline. We now go into round number 4, where the site has reset back to where it was before, back onto billiards and hooker. So I'd say billiards and booker there. That would be so weird to say. I was like, I'm about to say something that I shouldn't say. It sounds bizarre.
Round number 4 then, 2-1 in favour of Team Liquid, and they are showing that losing that first round has not been too much of a concern for them. They are quite happy to come back. They're on the defence here. Nesk with another run out, gets a kill on Novice. Headshot on Aquarium balcony, and once again, he is the man that is stepping up here. You have to look towards your big players in fixtures like this to do things like that. Move in, get those kills. 5 versus 4 now, and what a start for Liquid to round number 4. That is exactly what they need. And the other thing that does is all the teams start getting hyped now. They know that Nesk is popping off. They know that he's a danger. They know that MIBR are going to be afraid. And this is exactly what they needed from him.
The Twitch being gone as well, of course, removes that utility, which can be quite useful. Admittedly, you still have the IQ, but it's far less risky to send a Twitch drone in than it is to send, well, an operator in with a pistol in hand. Pretty much blind, of course, knowing where the gadgets are, but less so where the operators might be sitting. But as we've seen repeatedly across this weekend, it comes down to this opening kill. Very few rounds are won when the opening kill goes against you. We saw a couple in the last map, but not anything extraordinary. The majority did go in favour of those finding the opening kills. Now, Ness tries to get really nice and close and personal with these remaining members trying to push in from Aquarium. Didn't quite find a kill, but did do a little bit of scratch damage onto Hugzord there. He's down to about 75 HP. And you've got PSK playing below. He's got that Nitro cell still. The intel might not quite be there, relying entirely on sound. Let's see if he can land one of these C4s.
It's absolutely essential. There you go, PSK with a kill onto Cyber. I was just about to say how essential it was that Liquid do a better job of preventing the diffuser going down than they did in round number 1 when we saw them defend this site unsuccessfully. MIBR managed to get in there very easily and get a diffuser down. Palo with a great peek from Sunrise there, just making these players feel uncomfortable in their own skin. The most that Bullet can do is get a nade kill onto Nesk, but it is too little, too late, and I'm sure at the minute the MIBR guys just want to slow things down and do everything they can to keep themselves in this fixture.
It sounds like you're saying MIBR gods.
That's how they've looked so far over the weekend, to be fair.
They
really haven't been afraid at playing from behind, and I'm sure they're not going to be afraid of that now. They're not going to be panicking too much, but they are on the attacking side on Coastline, which generally you would want to come out with an advantage from.
Let's recap briefly and look at Border and how things started there. That was Liquid on defense, MIBR on attack. That ended 5-1 to Liquid. MIBR got a single attacking round. With the way this is proceeding so far, they have a single attacking round. If this gets to the halfway point, it goes 5-1. I'm not convinced MIBR will be able to hold those 2 rounds away from Liquid and not give them the victory on this map and send Liquid into the grand finals. Of course, it depends. I imagine right now we are in a quick pause while they have a quick chat between them. You can see the microphones are down for the coaches. That is the sure sign that they have called a pause and would like to have a conversation with their teams. Liquid, no doubt, in slightly higher spirits than MIBR right now, as they're the ones who need to book their ideas a little bit, because on that last round, it was a great example of how an opening kill can spiral into many, many more.
The other thing to consider here is that one of these teams that we're seeing is going to go into the lower bracket final. So whoever loses is going to drop down to that lower bracket final and play against Space Station tomorrow morning. If that's MIBR, I think Space Station are going to struggle against them. To be honest, if it's either of these teams, I'm just not sure that what we've seen from Space Station is going to be sufficient to see either of these out of that lower bracket final. And as you've commented, Des, it would not surprise me in the slightest to see the grand final being a repeat of this fixture here.
and it absolutely will come that way. This is kind of the preview of what you may well find yourself ending up in tomorrow. I mean, you're speaking about MIBR and Space Station tomorrow morning when it comes round, so we've already seen that fixture played out today. 2-0 to MIBR, 7-1 on Villa, 8-7 on Coastline, the map we find ourselves on here. Both LATAM teams having an incredible second map, taking it into overtime after looking like they were sure to lose it and bringing it all the way through. But it's that first dominant map that worries me. I would not expect to see Space Station going to Villa tomorrow under any circumstances.
No, not after today's performance, I'm sure. So we've got another potential run out there. Nesk just having a look. He won't have any joy and will move back inside a little bit quicker than he did in round 2, where he lost his life early in the round. He's obviously being a little bit cautious of that, but he has had plenty of success since then. We are defending Blue Bar and Sunrise, so the push is likely to come upstairs to begin with to clear out any roamers if the drones are suggesting that there's anybody up there. If not, maybe get yourself into office, work through Sun Corridor into security, clear out that side of the map, including main lobby, and then come back and look at getting a plant down in Blue Bar. Or alternatively, there is the other default plant spot, which is on the just where Moringa is now, actually, on those couches just inside of pool entrance. As we can see, M-King and Bullet heading themselves around in that direction. Bullet just opening the window, Moringa being forced to move away now. I think he's just been drawn out as well. Shots coming through, little pre-fire from M-King there. So looking to get themselves established around the pool entrance area. Cyber getting upstairs to clear out anybody above and also apply a little bit of vertical pressure. He can use those ash breaching charges on the floor, just open things up a little bit and see what he can get, if he can get any joy into the site.
There are 3 of them pushing around or sniffing around pool entrance right now as well. They know that's where they want to start their ingress in towards the site. And rightly so. Hugzord learning this time that having these down really does help out. There won't be any more nest jump outs you'd hope for, but that ACOG is always deadly. You have to be so careful of this dock jumping out at those longer angles and finding a couple of heads. Doesn't take a lot of time to do that at this level of play. So now we have the Echo Drone flying around. They're using a lot, to be fair, for actual scouting work and finding out where individuals are. You disrupt them, you fly around again, and the spot comes through. That's some beautiful team play there between Sexy Cake and Palu to open up that first kill onto Cyber.
That is absolutely fantastic. You saw that hard ping come out and the wall bang followed it immediately. There's vocal comms that have gone along with that to say, I'm going to ping him now. So Palo was ready to take the shot. Bullet with a kill onto Moringa. That's his second nade kill of the game. He managed to get one in the last round. I think it was on to Nesk in sight. It was meaningless, but he's just showing his proficiency with that gadget, with that utility at picking up the kills. And there are free kills on those nades. You don't really have to put yourself in a position to be shot at, to be challenged. PSK coming in with one, Nesk following that on, so that's that duo just coming in effective again. Bullet and M-King off the board, PSK with a second on the round onto Novice, so that leaves us now 4 versus 1. MIBR in big trouble, and the trouble only grows as Sexy Cake moves in with the final kill of the round, and that is now Liquid 4-1 on the advantage here on defence.
It's not looking good is the best way I can summarise this. MIBR looking closer and closer to that spot we found ourselves on the last map where everything goes completely against them. But look at the guys even now on the side of Liquid. Focused, a couple of smiles, but still know there are a few more rounds to go before they can rest easy tonight. We are in the last round of their defence now. That is going to be staged on Kitchen and Service, the next part of their rotation, as you would come to expect. Now, we saw a pretty close round here last time, all things considered. We had all of MIBR pushing into Service entrance, but a player called Nesk did a thing called Exist and got a jump out on them. They didn't have an air jab prepped, and he murdered them from behind with a couple more pushing in from lobby as well. It was pretty much all they could ask for this Christmas. So a great result from them back then. Let's see if they can repeat it here and take this map to 5-1.
Interestingly, Power is getting in on the act as well now. He's having none of Nesk and PSK running away with all these kills. He's got himself up there. Between 3 of them, they've got 17 kills out of a possible 25 so far in this game. So they are absolutely dominating this map, and they are here to take this home and get their team into that grand final. MIBR, I don't think they can even feel disappointed at dropping to the lower bracket final. They've come up against a very good Liquid side. They've also put up an absolutely solid performance. Out goes Nesk on the run out. Is he going to have any joy? That is extremely aggressive. Ooh. He will hit shots down by the pool. Power will get one onto Hugzord as well.
God.
Liquid are not letting MIBR catch a breath here, and that is huge from Nesk and Power just teaming up there to finish the IQ, and that will be their gadgets. Not completely safe, but at least much safer for the rest of the round.
Now, I won't sit here and say that no one's contribution to the teams isn't required, but Hugzord going down here isn't the end of the world. You haven't really been able to deal with Echo drones. There's no Echo being picked up here as well. It's really not going to hurt all that much. It's just the constant dread that it probably puts in these players, that they're being jumped out on from 2 different angles. How do you even safely spawn here? You most likely can't, because you will have someone firing bullets your way from Liquid.
PSK is taken off the board there to square things up, but as I commented on before, that still leaves Nesk, it still leaves Power, both of whom are popping off as well, so the danger is far from over. They're still out on the roam. You can see Nesk in the sunrise area there, just looking to make this challenge onto pool door. He'll put some shots through the soft wall. Novice will, however, get the kill. Headshot from the Twitch, and that is great teamwork. Cyber pushing Nesk forward into the line of sight for the Twitch there, so that now leaves 4 versus 3. MIBR fighting back here, looking to get themselves at least 4-2 on the half so that they can come back not being too far behind, and it will be a big difference. 2-4 versus 1-5. Power gets himself a kill though onto Bullet. Headshot there. 3 versus 3 now. Sledge off the board. Nades potentially gone with him. Cyber is still in sunrise area, hasn't moved through there too quickly after Nesk was cleared out. Novice is still in blue bar. Progress has just slowed down a little bit. They've got a minute left on the round, plenty of time, but they need to start thinking about how they make this execute onto site from here.
They do have control of this west side of the map, and you can see all 3 of them stacked together here as well, so it's pretty clear for Liquid what it is they need to be thinking about doing here. And right now it's having Sexy Cake on side to start holding things down. They will lose one as Moringa gets the flank off from Blue Bar. Going to get pushed in himself. That'll be a trade back, and Novus finds a triple kill, clearly thinking this is his round to grab this game by the horns and drive it where he needs it to go. See one running across, so gets sprayed out, but not quite taken down. He is down to half HP, and they are now inside Kitchen. They missed the chance here. Pala had a perfect opportunity to find one. Cyber's going to go for the plant here, covered out by Novus from the angle, and they're all going to push in from towards Toilets right now. He's going to go for the plant and get it down. Everything's on the other side. The shotgun comes out. There is literally 1 HP on Cyber here for this to go 5-1 to Liquid. If they can take their time on this one, in fairness, looking at the other side, they're also a tickle away from death as well. There really isn't much to do. Pala may as well just spray along the whole of this wall and hope that he finds someone. Will find one, spins round. The spray could come through here, but not quite going to happen. Going to push round instead. Will he run into him? He just misses slightly wide, and Cyber will find the second defensive round for them on this half. It's not quite as dire as it was on Border Race.
I've got to call that as a mistake from Team Liquid there. I feel like they had a really good handle on where Cyber was. Obviously, they don't know if he stood up, prone, crouched, anything else, but they had a good handle because both of them came round. Obviously, the second peak from Power, the call-out has then been made by Sexy Cake as to exactly where he is. But when Sexy Cake peeks round that kitchen door, he is already aiming towards that side of kitchen. I think there was just a little bit of a lack of patience there. Let Power get round to the other single door, challenge from both sides at once. You're in a position to get a trade. What they fatally did there was allow Cyber to deal with them as 2 individuals rather than a team. So he hits the first shot, turns round, hits the second. The shots were millimetres away from Power, but that is the fine margins that we're dealing with here. Cyber hit his shot, Power didn't, and as you said, there was about 10 HP across all 3 operators, so it was literally a case of 2 bullets were going to win the entire round, and that's what Cyber did, and that is exactly what his team needed from him. He's one of the big players on there. He's been getting the frags all weekend, and they needed him to step up at that point in time. 1v2 clutch, excellent plays, Cyber.
Now they've got to repeat such a plays for many rounds in a row, but this is feeling quite reminiscent of Clubhouse, where we saw a 4-2 advantage to Liquid, and then MIBR swung it back without dropping a single round. Now, admittedly, the sides were switched. Yep, Liquid were up 4 rounds as attackers on Clubhouse. Heaven knows how. And then MIBR come through and repeat the same. Only 2 defensive rounds are won across the entirety of this map. Now, Coastline is pretty perfectly balanced if you look at the stats for Pro League Season 10. It's a 50% win ratio for defenders, 50% for attackers. I'm sure there's some decimal places in there somewhere as well. But for the sake of argument, we'll keep it out pretty balanced. So you could argue MIBR have got as good as chances as any to repeat what they did earlier on Clubhouse and find themselves in the grand final tomorrow.
Round number 7, 30 seconds underway, and progress being made already towards getting in here. I'm sure that Liquid don't want to let this pace slow down. They've come at this like an absolute proverbial bull in a china shop, not messing about. They're just getting in there, Nesk with the jump outs, mixing things up, wanting to get the early kills, wanting to have those really solid moments where they put MIBR on the back foot. As it is, MIBR have got themselves set up for the hooker site now. We've got Cyber downstairs in the main lobby on the Valkyrie, just trying to feed back any information. Novice just having a look if he can get a peek outside of the Sunrise single window. Won't get any joy, as Liquid are being very careful getting into the drones, but keeping themselves in a safe location, not allowing a line of sight onto them. Nesk is now established upstairs, as is Power. This is pretty much top floor control coming in for Team Liquid. It's largely been given up by MIBR. We're going to see as the round progresses whether that is a mistake or not, whether they try to push anybody onto the flank. We do have Moringa playing the Nomad. There's the C4 from Hugsword. Sexy Cake will bite the dust on that one as he tries to get into the map, but again, great use of that gadget to control that verticality.
Both teams are perpetually afraid of jump outs, it feels here. You can see them constantly skirting around the outsides of the building, peeking into every window, just almost waiting for something to happen, for someone to try and make a play, only to shut it down, to then go on and proceed towards the site. As it stands right now, Liquid are down a man. They are nearly down on the IQ as well, down to very, very low health right now, whereas MIBR are still 5 alive with a minute left to play. So round advantage to them. I say that as Pala swings out and he's going to find Hugsor. Down he goes as well. Still got work to do, so don't forget, the site is downstairs. We've got 2 playing on site. You've got the Zofia hanging just outside pool entrance here, starting to look to threaten in. Otherwise, it's more towards the south. You've even got the Ash on almost no health now, trying to find a way and clearly taking a few peppering shots just a few seconds ago.
Cyber with a kill on Moringa. Cyber now really starting to grow into this match and really starting to come through with the frags that his team needs. Nesk trades that one out with a headshot onto Bullet, so that leaves us in a very tense 3 versus 2 as Nesk takes the head off Cyber. It's all going to happen in the next 15 seconds. Can MIBR hold on here? They've got 2 on the board. They've got 1 on the board as Novice is taken out by PSK, and now it's all in the hands of M King. Can he do it? He's got the Jaeger assault rifle. The plant is going down. He moves in 1 onto Nesk, but PSK will have the cover, and that will be round Liquid. I think the problem at the minute, Des, is that Liquid have got 3 of their players who are having huge games here. And when we look across to MIBR, there's only really Cyber who's having that big game out of their big game players. Bullet has been very quiet so far. Novice, 50-50. He's had a couple of moments, but he's just not kicking into that top gear.
Still haven't quite found that form we've seen them in previously. And looking at the scoreboard as well, 9 and 9 for Palo and Nesk. On the other side, the closest is Novice at 6. Tells you the story when collectively they're hitting those kind of numbers. In fact, collectively between them, they have more kills than the entirety of the other side of MIBR, and the scoreline reflects it. Now, they did start on defense, so we'll give some benefit of the doubt to MIBR here, but at 5 and 2, we are 2 rounds away from Liquid beating MIBR and making it into the grand final. Cannot stress this enough. MIBR, no more mistakes, or you lose this safety margin that you currently have.
So we're going to be heading to the same site. We're going to be back on Hooker.
We were on blue bar just then.
Ah, were we? Okay. I'm just getting so excited by this match, Des, that it's hard to keep track.
I got you covered.
So we're going to be heading up to Hooker this time. Largely the same in terms of defence, not too drastically different. You're looking to keep Aquarium instead of Office, but they're still going to be pushing into the same top floor areas largely, usually getting 1 or 2 on Hooker deck and Hooker window, try and clear out from there, create crossfires into sight and prevent those rotations. Main lobby is going to be more of an area of contention. We've got Novice down there at the minute on the Mozzie. It will yet be seen whether he moves away from there or not. In come the drones. We'll see if his pests have any impact and manage to capture any of those and deny any information coming through. MIBR drastically need an opening kill here. They really need to just give themselves an advantage, give themselves a little bit of breathing room, and they need to take somebody like Nesk or PSK off the board.
They've got to slow them down. Again, as the two big fraggers, they're the ones you need to be looking to shut out here, so they can't keep on doing the wonders they've been working so far on this map. But as we've came to understand and see from both of these teams so far, it is about sweeping around the outside of the building. A very heavy stack towards this southwest side. Previously, for MIBR, we've seen them circle the entire building and make sure as many windows as they can are covered, just checking where there might be someone waiting to do a jump out or potentially do some finding out on where Liquid are playing. The reverse this time around is more of a concentrated assault out of Liquid, looking more to get inside the building and start staging an assault. Have you got a face down against Novice over here, who's looking down through a luggage window, not yet finding anything though. Sexy Cake is pretty safe, lay down here, pretty tight up against that wall as well, daring not to get any shots come against his head.
Liquid just taking the time here, nearly a minute 30 into the round, no damage on either side, no coming together really. They just wanted to build this attack slowly. We've seen this, it reminds me of Gym and Bedroom on Coastline, sorry, on Clubhouse, where we were taking sort of 2.5 minutes to really get into the action because they were just setting things up, waiting for that collapse, and when it came, it was absolutely devastating. And I think that's a similar thing that they're trying to work here, just trying to take the time, get themselves into position, confident that they've got the angles just a footstep or two away, and then they can all move and execute at the same time. 2 minutes gone off the clock now, still no real coming together, still just positioning themselves. PSK now going to move around, possibly get himself up onto this window, but it is being watched very closely as it stands by Bullet. He's going to hold a very tight angle here. Who is going to come out on top? It will be Bullet. What an angle he uses onto PSK there. However, Sexy Cake moves in. It was a little bait and switch. Sexy Cake gets in and gets the diffuser down. Pala and Moringa, kills come in for them. Leaves us in a 4 versus 3. Cyber's going to take damage. Bullet's going to take more as he loses his life. It's now 4 versus 2. Diffuser down, and this is a real mountain to climb for MIBR. Nest gets one onto Cyber, and Pala finishes things off. Headshots galore in that round, and what about that? PSK pushes the window, attention is paid towards that side of the site, while Sexy Cake moves in and gets the diffuser down. Fantastic play.
This has not been the start to the defensive half that MIBR wanted. They are now 0-2, and this is their last chance saloon if they still want to have a chance of making it into the grand finals and securing that 1-0 advantage at the start of it. Otherwise, they drop, and first thing tomorrow morning, they'll be playing against Space Station to determine who will face off against Liquid for that spot at the 6th Invitational and the lion's share of $75,000. Again, looking at the scoreboard, 2 of them on 11. No one else even coming close on the side of MIBR.
Nope, not at all. Pala and Nesk have just had a fantastic tournament so far. Obviously, it goes without saying for Pala, 27 kills yesterday, but he's just been present on that leaderboard throughout. He's always been a factor. He's always managed to get himself into dangerous positions and just really be a thorn in the side of his opponents constantly. And there really is lessons to be learnt from the way that he has played this weekend. And Nesk, consistent as ever. The old guard coming in, that talismanic attacker, talismanic fragger, just getting in there and really mixing things up. 6-2 match point now in round number 9 for Liquid. They will have 4 attempts at this. I really have to say, I think it might be very, very late in the day if MIBR are going to make a run at this now.
But we've seen these things done over the weekend, so it's so hard to write them off this early and just assume it won't be a thing. But trends exist for a reason, and 2-0 to Liquid does suggest that this may well go that way. The confidence in returning back to this site does say, really, that we're looking for MIBR, or at least they're looking to be able to defend it more successfully. Clearly seeing in the plant last time, there's a bit of a lapse of attention there on their side, a bit of a slip-up, and something they feel can be rectified this time around. Got to give a nod as well to Sexy Cake on the gridlock so far, popping that down in any of the rotation angles that they could normally get flanked on. The fact that they had it covering all of luggage last time meant that you could see they were super safe to push it from Aqua, get the plant down, be back outside the windows and have no worries about flanks coming through, or at the very least, flanks they wouldn't be aware of. MIBR, Cyber especially, is not being able to play the roam game that he is so used to having the freedom to do because of things like the gridlock and the Nomad.
This is largely going to be determined by how successful that roam in Penthouse and VIP is. Cyber and Novice have got the weight of their team's hopes on their shoulders here. Moringa can actually see a feet there, and he does notice he will put shots in. Damage is done, a lot of damage. That's about 80 come off Cyber there, and he has to move around, can't hold the angle that he wants to anymore. And there will also have been a call out to say that he's in there, and the pressure, I'm sure, will mount very soon. Cyber at the moment just keeping himself in VIP, but will die as the drone moves past, and Power gets the kill on the back of a call out, but Novice will trade that one back out. As I said, these two needed to work together. They needed to get those trades. They need to keep Liquid guessing, keep them uncomfortable. Don't let them settle in just yet. You can't let them start to build that execute this early. As it stands, I think they can look at starting to get a move in towards Aquarium as well. That's something that Liquid want to consider. They need to keep these pushes sort of multi-angle.
They do. It's still a lot of work to do, because now Liquid have control of this east side of the map. This is where we can start seeing the swing across. And last time around, it was this pinch coming in from Corridor, as well as the push from Window and Aqua, which really set things up for them. Nesk is back in the same place as last time. Previously, he was backed up by those tracks to make sure no one was going to follow him in from the enemy team. Now he's getting rid of the barbed wire. He's in a spot to start assaulting in towards the site. It's all about Sexy Kate, though, and where he is with that diffuser right now. If anything from last round is to go by, he'll be pushing in exactly the same place once again. That's exactly what he is going for here as well. In come the smokes, everything being thrown out, and he's going for exactly the same plans as last time. By the window, but not quite managed to make it happen yet. Has to lie down and get under all this smoke. They're trying to play quite aggressive right now. Hogsword is literally right in front of his face, but he can't quite find anything. That's 2 kills coming across. It's down to a 2 versus 1. Liquid have got one more kill to get. However, it's going to come down to a 1 versus 1. Window versus non-window. He goes for the swing in, but Novice holds on just by the skin of his teeth, finding 2 kills to keep the dream alive for MIBR.
Dreaming, I am sure they must think they are at this point, because that was unbelievable. Novice stepping up when his team needed him. What a great clutch from him. That final kill onto the window as the Liquid player is rappelling in, it must have felt fantastic at that point. And that's dangerous now, because those players are going to be coming in here. MIBR just riding a little surge of adrenaline there. Novice has done exactly what his team needed and just put a little fire underneath them.
This is where we're going to see something a bit different. Kitchen and Service has not yet been played by MIBR, so heaven knows what we're going to expect. In those last 2 rounds, it was the same site. We saw exactly the same strategy coming out of the attackers, and we said this earlier on. For LATAM teams, you are going to see the same thing time and time again. They just practice this execution and deliver each and every time without much modification to what you've seen previously. Again, without seeing this recently, this is where you might see a bit of surprise, unless, of course, MIBR have been watching back some of the VODs from Liquid and know what to expect.
Please don't for 1 second write this off as impossible. We've seen MIBR do it a number of times. They are 3-6 down. Yes, it's unlikely. Yes, they've got a mountain to climb. But if there is a team at this tournament this weekend that are capable of doing it, it is MIBR. They have kept us on the edge of our seats repeatedly, map after map, because it is so unpredictable just what they're going to do, where they're going to come back from. G2 were within 2 rounds of sending them home in that first quarter-final, and they did not cave, they did not bend or break. They continued to push and fight, and they got their way back into that match and then ultimately won it. Do not write them off for a second coming into round number 10 here. 30 seconds in, we can see pressure being quickly applied to top floor. Nesk is up on hooker deck, wants to send a drone in, but the Mozzie Pest will prevent that happening. He will go and collect it to use it later, but it means he's going to have to think about going into the map blind, and that is exactly what MIBR wants here. We've got Novice and Cyber over in the Hall of Fame and Theatre area. Once again, we've seen them have some success from there. Their team need them to do that again now more than ever.
The Valkyrie returning here as well. Didn't see it on the last site, but did see it back in round number 7 on Blue Bar and Sunrise. Novice going back onto that one, so a lot of intel exists on this MIBR lineup right now. The question is, how well can they use it to deny Liquid, specifically around those pests? One of the big ones, of course, shutting down those drones. We've said it a couple of times this series. Mid-round intel has not been the strong point of either of these sides throughout the tournament. Clearly, Metro looking to make that change here, MIBR, by arming themselves to the teeth with information and cameras. Bit of an assault looking to come in here. Actually, nice C4 comes out of Bullet to pick up PSK at the very start. That's definitely get things off to a nice one, and he finds a second one. Palo's gone as well. They are the two big players that we wanted gone. Ness still stands, and Moringa again has that capacity, but two big fraggers removed is never something to shy away from.
So it begins. Here comes the fight back. 5 versus 3 now. Nesk just holding on at the moment in billiards, but I'm pretty sure that MIBR have a good idea of his location. We've got Moringa on the sledge thinking that he was just sneaking around there, but he was on a yokai drone all the time. Will be stunned, and that allows M-King to move forward and challenge, and he will hit shots onto the sledge. Moringa and Nesk, however, fighting back with kills onto M-King and Bullet. Moringa was downed in the process. Sexy kick will be ended, and Novice gets a C4 into Moringa to finish that off. It is all on the shoulders of Nesk now. He gets 1 of 3. That will be his second on the round, meaning it's going to be a 4K with a 1 versus 3 clutch for him if he can achieve this. He's got Hugzord and Novice both on full health. The default cam will spot him. They're aware that he's pushing from main lobby. It's just time now for the defenders to hold those angles, but they will peek and challenge. Novice loses out to Nesk, and now it's 1 versus 1. Hugzord in the side. He's been quiet throughout this fixture. I commented earlier about his ability to count when it matters. Will he be able to get the kill? He hides away. Nesk is pushing, but Hugzord will finish things for his team. We saw it on Border. We've seen it now. It doesn't matter that he hasn't had the fights going on. He can step up as that anchor when his team needs him, and Nesk will be very unfortunate there.
Novice in a 1 versus 2 a couple of rounds ago. This round coming down to a 1 versus 1 against an Ash with an ACOG and still winning it out. MIBR are literally hanging on by the skin of their teeth. And now we go to the site they played way back at the start of their defensive half. Blue Bar and Sunrise, they did not win it. This is going to be a challenge for them now. They've got to improve and fix what they got wrong last time round. No mistakes allowed.
This is their moment now, that is for sure, Des. This is the reckoning. If they can go to this site and get the win on it, they're then able to go back to Hooker, where they may be a little bit more comfortable, where they have just had a good win. What a round. I don't think I can take much more of this. It's certainly a good job that this is the final match of the day, because this is just too tense for me. My heart can't. I'm an old man, Des.
Your boomer heart can't take it.
My boomer heart cannot take this.
I think the most intensity you felt in your life is watching someone swing a golf club, mate. And then you come and watch some intense siege like this. It's tough. Don't know how you're still alive. But here we are. Potentially, for now, the 3rd or 4th round in a row at match point. Setup, nothing too surprising. What we've seen from them before, we saw a bit of an assault coming in from Kitchen last time round, pushing in off towards the west side of the map. But it's always down to what we saw out of MIBR on their attack. The spread around the map, checking out where jump out's going to come from, stopping there being any nasty surprises. We have the Vigil on side for Novice, which means they can look to make a play just like that for themselves if they want. In fact, he's even waiting to try and find a spawn peak here. But immediately from Liquid, looking to make themselves known around pool entrance.
30 seconds gone and quick progress being made, barricades being opened up. The opening kill here is going to be so important. I honestly think that this round will largely dictate how this map ends. If MIBR can get the win here and get themselves back to a more comfortable site with 3 consecutive wins under their belt, then I think they push it to overtime or have a big shout to do so. If not, and Liquid win the round here, then obviously it is all over. Nesk takes early damage on the Ash. His confidence maybe just getting peaked on, but he will get the kill. Headshot onto Novice, who moves too slowly up the Cool Vibe stairs. That is not going to help his team at all, and Nesk sends a message there. He might have had a quiet round or two, but he is still deadly, and he's still looking to get in and get those frags.
The interesting thing with Liquid is they always bring the Ash and the Zofia. They've done it every single round so far, as MIBR do not. The IQ has got breach charges, so their vertical destruction is unmatched. They've even got the sledge on side if they want it as well. And hey, C4s from below are also helping out as well. Why would you not want to help them do that, MIBR?
1:30 left on the clock. There is an awful lot of time here. Ness gets too aggressive, moves into sight, and will be punished by Bullet, but Moringa will step in. One of his own onto M King. 4 versus 3 now, and this is on an absolute knife edge as to which way this is going to go. Hugzord on half health as the mute. And that is a dangerous thing. PSK with a kill onto Bullet, so we are now down to effectively 1.5 operators. The hopes of MIBR rest on their shoulders. Power with a fantastic kill onto Hugzord. Surely this is all going to be over soon. If any man can do it, it was Cyber, but no! He will lose his life. Team Liquid jump onto their feet. It's hugs and cheers all round. They're into the grand final. They will take the one map advantage, and they have shown that they are the dominant LATAM force.
Absolutely dominant when it came to Coastline, but this was a close series. That much can't be contested. On the day, it was the fraggers from Liquid who stepped up and really made themselves known. We spoke about them all series long as well. It always comes down to those opening kills, and Liquid were the ones making themselves known.
That, for me, was one of, if not the most entertaining fixture that we have had to date. The upper bracket final deserved it, and these two teams delivered. Take nothing away from MIBR there. They have played their part in bucketfuls in that, and they have really fought back time and time again. They've made a real challenge of it. They've given Liquid nothing for free. Liquid have really had to earn their keep today.
They absolutely have, and it really sets up an interesting fight tomorrow when MIBR face off against Space Station Gaming. Space Station looked a bit better in their series on. They're starting to improve, and now they've got even more VODs to watch back tonight. It's going to be a night of grinding, that much I'm sure. But we're going to go to some individuals who've been grinding during that series to bring you some excellent analysis. It's over to the boys on the desk.